Dear students, welcome back to the session of transport layer. So today we are going to study about the second part, that is the elements of transport protocols. That means today we are going to discuss about how this transport layer protocol works and what are the actual things that occur during the addressing and connection establishment, connection release. These points we are going to discuss today. So before beginning with the transport protocols or the elements, or we can say the services that occur here, we are going to discuss something about the main differences and the similarities between the data link layer and the transport layer. So to begin with, the services provided by the data link layer and the transport layer are more on the same. Like data link provides the services like sequencing, error control, flow control. The same functionalities or same services are also provided by the transport layer. But there is a slightly difference is present, because the environment in which data link layer works and the environment in which data transport layer works is different. So when you talk about the data link layer, in this case there is, like for example, we have taken that physical communication channel is there. So in this, a packet has to be transferred from one router to the next router. That is, it is like from one hop to the next hop it goes on. So there is no proper particular address is required, or no specification is required. It is because it is going from many subnets are going on, but it is from one hop to the another hop, and that will be done. But whereas when you talk about the environment of the transport layer, and the transport layer is always like end to end. This we know. That means what? It is always process to process. So because of this, what is required is the router have been shown here, and there is a subnet present. So in this specific process number is required here. So because it is from end to end, and if you take up the datagram approach or the connectionless approach, the routers may take different paths, okay, because it is a connectionless service. So because of this, handling these addressing, connection establishment, connection release, all these are very challenging tasks with respect to the transport layer entities, so or the transport layer protocols. So now we are going to discuss about these addressing in detail. Now let us study about the addressing part. Now we have shown like host 1 and host 2. So in case of addressing, when application or a process or a user, for example, this is the application layer and there are many processes that are running, okay, and this is a host, or you can say a server, and here also many services that are running. So suppose like when we talk about the transport layer, it is always end to end. So there is some unique address is required, that we call it as the TSAP. So what this TSAP stands for? This is the transport service access point, and also we have something called as NSAP, that is network service access point. Usually NSAP will be common because we are connecting to a same host, okay, with respect to the NSAP. That is, this NSAP is nothing but the our network address, or we can say our IP address. Okay, already you have studied about the IP addresses. So this NSAP can be common, but there are like many processes that can be running. So when a host one wants to establish a connection to host 2, it has to specify which process it is actually establishing. So there can be two things here. For example, I can give there can be a Gmail service, there can be a time of day service, and so on. So host 1 should specify whether I want to connect to this particular process or whether I want to communicate with this particular process, so that host 2 can provide the same required service to the host 1. That is why we require something called as TSAP. So whenever this host has to establish a connection, it has to attach itself to the TSAP. In one more general way, if I want to elaborate this TSAP, this is nothing but the transport service access point, or we can say an endpoint in the transport layer. So this process will establish itself to the transport layer with some number, say 1208 or 1209, so on. Similarly, when host 2 wants to establish a connection with this, and or it wants to give a information to the host 1, the process will attach itself to this TSAP, that is the transmission service access point, or the transport service access point. So these will be a unique one. Why we required a unique one is because we are not connecting to just host 1 to host 2, we are connecting from process to process. So when we require process to process communication, there is some unique addresses required, that is nothing but the TSAP, or we can say that endpoint in the transport connection. So once this is done, this process will establish itself, or it will attach itself to this TSAP, that is the endpoint. And then so this at the destination side, these processes will also attach themselves to these TSAPs. Because there are many running, but host 1 is interested only in this type of service. It is not interested in this. So that is the reason why it should send the information about this 1208. And now in this scenario, if you talk about, host 1 wants to establish a connection with host 2 with the process that has the TSAP as 1522, and it is not interested in 1836. So that's why we require this unique addressing. So if you refer the notes, that is why this is what we have discussed now. So when an application process wishes to set up a connection to a remote application process, it must specify the address of the remote host. That means it should specify the TSAP, and through the TSAP it will go through the NSAP, that is the network service access point, that is nothing but your IP address, and then it will go to the below layers, and then from the physical layer like data link layer, physical layer, then it will reach the destination. So the information will flow in this fashion. So the above figure shows both the client server application process attach themselves to TSAP. So this both client and server, or like a host 1 and host 2, will establish themselves to this TSAP. How this process will attach to TSAP is not important, because that will be taken care by the operating system. So this process will attach to TSAP. How it will be, you may have a doubt how this process will attach to TSAP 1208 or 1522 and so on. That will be taken care by the operating system. Let us discuss about the connection establishment. So when what you can say, consider a transport entity tries to establish a connection with the time of day server. So like example, here the diagram A and diagram B are same, but the same diagram A is being elaborated here. So this is what they are showing as the application layer, and there is a user who wants to establish a connection with time of day server. So they have shown some processes like process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here also some processes are there. But host 1 is trying to establish a connection with time of day server. Now what this user has to do, or the process has to establish a connection with TSAP first, okay, and this host 2 has to establish itself to this TSAP. So let us take this TSAP as 1522, just like a unique number, and let us consider this user which wants to communicate with time of day server has the TSAP with the number 1208. So already we know the what you can say, primitives of this transport protocol. I mean primitives we already discussed, like listen, connect and so on. So that will be done here. So when host 2 wants to attach to itself first, what this will do, first it will establish, or it will what you can say, sorry, first it will execute this listen primitive. So that listen primitive will be generated by this host 2, and then it will attach itself to 1522. Like there can be many other processes also. For example, this can be, this service is giving the information for the Gmail, or this is for the Yahoo Mail and so on. But host 1 is interested in only to 1208. So once this host 2 or the server is attached itself to 1522, host 1 will be now waiting for the return call. So an application process on host 1 waits to find out time of day, so it issues a connection. So now this host 1 will make a connection with this. So for making the connection, we already know that it uses the connect primitive. So this connect primitive will be executed by the host 1. And while sending the connect primitive, we know that it sends a information, that is TPDU will be sent, and that TPDU will consist of some information, and that information will include 1208 as the source and 1522 as the destination. Why this information is required? Because host 2 should understand that host 1 wants to communicate with me, and it wants to communicate with and it wants to establish a connection with this particular service or for this particular process. So host 1, what it will do, while sending the connect request primitive, it will send the information as 120 as the source and 1522 as the destination. So now once this connection request is done, what this host 1 will do, then the connection is already established. Now once the connection is established, what we know that send and receive primitives will start working. So host 1 will send a information, or it will request for time, current time. It will ask for the current time from the host 2. Okay, that is the third step. So the application process then sends over a request for the time. The time server process responds with the current time. So at this moment it is already established a receive primitive. So time of day server will give this or will this return the time to this particular host. So then the transport connection is then released. Once this is done, the connection can be released. So this is what actually happens in the connection establishment. I hope this point is clear to you. So next we are going to study in detail about the connection setup, how exactly it is done with respect to this transport layer. Thank you.